Yo, what's poppy gamers? Welcome back to a brand new bad business tier list. I actually did a assault rifle one back in 2022, and you guys absolutely loved the video. Got over 30,000 views, I think. So I'm gonna do another one for you guys. This time around, we're gonna do a submachine gun tier list. And if you guys like to see more tier lists in the future, make sure you guys hit the like button down below, because that does tell me you guys do enjoy this and you want to see more. So I'll definitely do more later in the future if you guys do want to see it. But I don't want to waste too much of you guys' time. I just want to give a heads up that my tier lists are kind of all over the place. A lot of people don't agree with some of the places I put some of the weapons, but I want you guys to know that I don't always put a meta weapon over everything else. Sometimes there's meta weapons in the game that I just don't enjoy how they feel, so it might not get the S tier. So I just want to make that very clear. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and hop into this, starting with the Vector. Now, I don't want to seem biased since I was the one that worked on the Vector, but this is going in the S tier, and I'll tell you why. And it's not because I worked on the gun, it's because, one, the gun feels great to use, and there's quite a bit of versatility when it comes to attachments. You can kind of play however you want with this gun, and that was kind of the idea that I had going into making it. I just wanted a ton of attachments for people to just build it exactly how they want to play. The conversions are also kind of unique, but yes, the Vector is going to go in the S tier because of the amount of versatility and how good the weapon feels overall. Next up is the Uzi. Now, I don't have too much experience with the Uzi because this is around the time when I was kind of taking my break. So I currently only have the Uzi level 22. But I do feel like it is a pretty cool SMG overall. I don't really like how it feels necessarily, but I do think it deserves the C tier based off of its performance and also the enjoyment of other people liking it. I haven't really used it enough to really know for sure, so I'm going to put it in the C tier for now. This might change when we move everything around at the end of the video, but as of right now, it's going to go in C tier just because I haven't used it enough yet. Moving on to the UMP 45. Now, this is one that I actually think is one of the more enjoyable SMGs in the game when you put the 10 round civvy mags on it, because you can just zoom around the map. It makes it a little challenging because you only have 10 bullets, but overall it's probably one of the most fun I've had with a submachine gun alongside the P90. I don't think this thing deserves a super high tier whatsoever because I think it does lack attachments and also versatility compared to the newer weapons that we've been getting recently. So I'm going to put this in the D tier, but I do want to put it higher, so I'll probably change this later because it's a great starter weapon. So as of right now, until later on, when I have more weapons laid out, the UMP is probably going to go up in the list. As of right now, it's going to go D tier because it kind of lacks versatility and customization, so that is why. Also, when you do try to put other attachments on it other than the speed build, you have so many disadvantages. You're so slow. But yeah, the UMP is overall a great starter weapon, so if you guys are newer to the game, I definitely do recommend grinding this and getting it gold. Next up is the Thompson, the Tommy gun. Now, this thing actually reigned terror for I think a few weeks when it first released. Everybody was using this, but after it got its mobility nerfed, and I think it got its damage nerfed as well at some point, so it's not as good as it used to be, but it is still pretty dang good. So I'm gonna put it in the B tier. It would be higher if the attachments didn't really feel so much like a disadvantage. Anything you put on this thing, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. I don't feel like I'm gaining any advantages other than mobility when I put anything on or any other attachments on. So I feel like just running the base model, no attachments, is the best way to go. That's kind of my experience with the Thompson. So I'm going to put in the B tier because it is highly rated and it also is really good. I'm not a huge fan of the attachments. That's why it's not an S tier or A tier. But yeah, hopefully they change something in the future where it doesn't feel like everything's a disadvantage. Next up, we have the Stin. This one doesn't have a ton of versatility when it comes to attachments. I do wish we had some more made up attachments for it, not necessarily real attachments that we've had that are actually exist, but I do wish it did have some more customization. It's going to go in the A tier. I only enjoy using this either in its pure mobility build or its maxed out damage build, which I have a video on my channel. I definitely recommend checking out because this thing is very dominant when you put its most damage build on it. It's a little slow, but headshot damage is crazy with this thing. So it's going to go in A tier because I do think it is kind of underrated and it can compete with the meta weapons in the game. if you do use the damage build. But yeah, that's going to go in the A tier because I really do enjoy the gun. The SMO3, I dislike this gun a lot. It used to be really good. It used to be the meta weapon, the go-to gun that was just raining tear, just like the Tommy gun was at one point, and then it got nerfed into the ground. But I have seen people using it more often recently, so I don't know if it got a little buff or not, but I'm personally not a huge fan of the gun, like at all. So based on that, I'm probably gonna put it in D tier along with the UMP. But yeah, I'm sorry for those of you that probably still love this gun and use it on a daily basis, but I don't think it deserves to be any higher than D tier. Next up is the SBR. Now, a ton of people have been using this and absolutely dominating with it. It's been a while since I used it, but overall, it is really good. I just hate burst weapons. So I'm going to put my hate aside for this one, and I think I'm going to throw this in the B tier because I do think if you can get used to the burst, it is a very viable SMG. Also, can even be the meta. Start getting at ranges, that's when it goes downhill very quickly. Up close, it does kill very quickly. I might revisit this gun actually for a video at some point and give you guys a setup for it and stuff, because I never really gave this weapon any attention other than its release, and that's about it, because I was never a fan of burst weapons, but it is good. I might give it another chance here soon. The PP2000. I personally love using this gun, not because it's good. It's actually, in my opinion, least competitive in comparison to other submachine guns, but it's just so much fun to use. I think I might put it in C tier because of that. But I absolutely love the PP2K. Yes, I did work on this gun, but that's not why I'm saying I enjoy it. It's purely because I just love the way the gun feels, and I don't have to run a red dot on it either. I don't know, it just feels really good. And I also might revisit this soon, give a setup for it and stuff, because I haven't done that yet, I don't think. So this is another gun I'm definitely going to revisit here soon. The P90. This is probably like the easiest gun in the game to use, and it's nowhere near competitive with other submachine guns. And it definitely does not deserve to be above the PP2K, but it is absurdly fun. I'm putting it in the A tier just because of how much fun it is. Like, it's not that great in terms of damage, but I mean, you have that much ammo and you kind of just go crazy with it. I had a blast using this when it did release, the revamp at least. Yeah, I definitely do recommend, if you guys haven't used the P90 yet, try it out. It's not going to be crazy in damage, like I said, but it's just one of those guns that take absolutely no brain power, but it's a ton of fun to use. Next up is the MP7, and this is a weapon that I don't give too much love on the channel, but this is S tier. It does not belong in S tier in terms of meta talk, but in my opinion, this does have more enjoyment to use over the P90 because the speed build on this thing is a ton of fun, and you can kind of do a decent amount of builds with it as well. The MP7 is definitely going in S tier because when I do use it, I don't get to use it too often because I already got it gold and stuff. But MP7, if you guys haven't used it, it has a great running animation and stuff too. It's very satisfying. Definitely try out the MP7. You're gonna notice like far away, it's not gonna compete too well. CQC, it can hold its own, but it definitely doesn't have the strongest damage in the game. But ton of fun to use. Next up, the MP5, the gun that literally nobody uses for some reason. I never die by this thing. I never die by it. And honestly, I think it's because its disadvantages, just like I said with the Tommy gun, it has so many disadvantages that I don't think it's great. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it doesn't feel too good. So I think this might be our first E or F tier. So I'm gonna put it in the F tier. And I actually don't like that I have a E and a F tier. I feel like that's not needed, but whatever. I'm gonna put it in the F tier. We might just not use the E tier. Next up is the SMG. Now this is one that I've been waiting for a revamp. I feel like this gun is going to be so good when it gets its revamp, and it's also pretty good now. So I'm going to put it in the B tier just because it hasn't gotten its revamp yet. But when it does, this very well might be in the S tier. So we'll see. But as of now, B tier it is. Next up is the Scorpion Evo. I absolutely love this gun. It feels great to use. I'm gonna put this in A tier because I absolutely love this gun. Next up is the Bison. This is gonna be getting a revamp here soon If you guys are paying attention to the Bad Business leaks, you could see a little snippet of the brand new remodel of the PP Bison. I'm super excited for this, and I do think this is a great submachine gun. It's just been desperately in need of a revamp, and I might reveal here that I may or may not been the one to be working on this. I'm gonna put it in the A tier. We won't know for sure if this belongs in the S tier or not until the revamp, but I also kind of want to pull this down to the B tier, but I'm gonna put it in A tier because I do feel like this is gonna be a great submachine gun when it gets its revamp. So, and I think it might be meta when it gets its revamp. I haven't used it yet. Obviously, nobody has, but I don't know. This submachine has been waiting for a revamp for a very long time, and it's not used very often anymore. So I definitely think it's gonna be very good when the revamp comes out. Yeah, this is my current list. I'm gonna go ahead and take some time and think over some of my choices, and I'll move stuff around if I feel like I need to. Alrighty, here is my updated list. We moved the Scorpion Evo to the S tier, and then for our A tier, we went ahead and put the SBR up there because I do think it deserves to be there, even though I don't really like burst weapons, but I think it's very, very good at the moment. So I definitely recommend trying it out. Our B tier now has the P90 and the Bison in it. The reason why I decided to move the Bison down is because it's not currently that great without it being revamped at the moment. So we really won't know where that's going to be for sure until the revamp is out. But I definitely think it is going to be a meta weapon in my opinion. The Tommy gun is staying in the B tier. I decided not to move that because I still agree with what I said. The attachments all feel like disadvantages, and I don't really like that. But it is a good SMG. The FMG is now moved down to the C tier because, again, it's another one of those weapons that aren't amazing. They are good without being revamped, but it can't compete with all the other SMGs that are above it. For example, S and A tier, not B. But I don't know when we're going to revamp for that. So, and nothing else has changed. But this is my final submachine gun list. I would love for you guys to leave some comments down below of what your tier list would be, or if you move stuff around. Again, this is my opinion, and you guys also have your opinions. Again, I don't mind if anybody disagrees with my list or anything like that. As long as it's not starting arguments in the comments, it is all okay. Anyways, thank you guys so much for all the support recently on the channel. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Peace out.